Have you ever thought about all the different parts that it takes to make a baseball team and have a good baseball team and win games? Well, that is what I'm here to inform you about today. I'm going to inform you about how baseball works, all the positions, and the things that will make you win. I'm credible to this topic because I played baseball for right around 9 years. The three main parts of my speech that I'm going to talk about today are hitting, fielding, and pitching because those are probably the three most important parts of the sport, and those are what's going to help you win games in the end. The first thing I'm going to talk about today is pitching. According to MLB.com, pitching is the most important part of the defensive part of the game because if you don't have a good pitcher, then the other team's just going to get hits off you all day or they're going to get on base one way or another, and that's not good. You don't want that to happen. The first part of pitching I'm going to talk about is control. If your pitcher can't control where he's going to put the ball and he can't place it or throw the right pitch when he needs to, then you're not going to be able to win games and the other team's just going to keep hitting it off of him. The second part about pitching is speed. If the pitcher's not fast enough, then it's just going to be really easy to hit off of him, and you don't want that to happen, and that's not good. The second part of in the pitching area that I'm going to talk about is catching. The first part of catching is they have to be able to call the right signs at the right time, and they have to be able to do that. They have to know what's going on in the game about the batter, like what his weaknesses are, and what pitch they think will be effective against this batter. The second part is signs. They have to be able to They have to be able to show the pitcher which sign, and by doing that, they hold up a number or like a letter or make a letter or something with their fingers, and they hold that down between their legs when they're squatted. The second part of what I'm going to talk about today is fielding. The first part of fielding is the infield. The positions in the infield are first base, second base, shortstop, and third base. First base, for the most part, they just have to. Sometimes the ball gets hit to them and they field it and they run over and tag first base. But if the ball does not get hit to them, they have to go over, stand on first base, and one of the other infielders will throw it to them, and they have to catch the ball. Third base is basically the same, except they have to throw it to first base to get the out usually. And you don't want anybody to get to third base because that's not good. And then second and shortstop, they play the middle of the field. Say there's a runner on first and he's stealing. One of them ends up covering the bag, depending on if it's a right-handed hitter or a left-handed hitter. And the catcher throws it to them, and they try to get him out at second by tagging him. The second part of the infield is shifts and coverages. If you can't call the right shift or be in the right area at the right time, then they're just going to hit the ball where you're not, and they're going to get a base hit. To call the right shift, you have to be able to know about the batter, if it's a left-handed batter, right-handed batter, and how good of a hitter he is. The second part of fielding that I'm going to talk about is the outfield. The positions are left field, center field, and right field. According to Wikipedia, using the right shift or being in the right spot is probably the most important part of fielding, along with actually fielding the ball. In the outfield, usually you go to either to the left or the right. You don't really scoop. You scoop back some, but not as much. Depending on if you go to the left or right, is just if it's a left-handed batter or a right-handed batter and how fast your pitcher is. And depending on if you go forward or backward in the outfield, depends on how good of a hitter they are and how hard they can hit the ball or how weak they are at hitting. The third part of my speech that I'm going to talk about today is batting. The first part is hitting. To hit the ball, it takes a lot of practice. You got to make sure you keep your eye on the ball when it comes, and you got to time your swing just perfectly so you can hit the ball. The second part about hitting is bunting, taking, or I guess walking. to when you bunt the ball, you just kind of stick your bat out and you try to hit it with your bat while you're just holding your bat in place, so that the ball just goes a little ways. And usually you do this to advance a runner or catch the other team off guard and maybe get to first base sometimes. And then taking is when, like, say you have a runner stealing, you don't want to swing and pop up and turn it into a double play, so that you get 2 outs instead of one. So usually when they're stealing, you try to take the pitch so you don't turn it into a double play. And according to Baseball Almanac, knowing when to bunt, take a pitch, or swing away is the most important part of batting. The second part of batting is base running. The first part is stealing. You have to know when to, or which runners can steal. Like if they're slow, you don't want them to steal. You want them to stay on first and hope that the next runner gets a base hit. The second part of base running is signs. Your third base coach or first base coach has to know when to call the right sign at the right time. Like sometimes you just want to get a big lead off just in case. Sometimes you want to steal, and then other times there's a hit and run where your batter has to hit the ball no matter what, and the base runner makes sure to run as soon as the ball's pitched. Now to my conclusion. Hitting. Now that you know more about baseball, you can be a good player and know how the sport works. And when you play the game, you'll be able to be better than the other kids. And maybe if you ever want to join a fantasy league or be a coach, you'll be able to know how to play the sport. And that's it. Thanks for watching.